Hey everyone, if you're watching, this is Tiff J Tiff speaking with Courtney Coles. I just wanted to let you know that Two Black Artists in Conversation is produced in collaboration with the travel agency. The travel agency connects emerging artists like myself with resources to reach new audiences through live stream programming. And we are so grateful to them for producing this show. Shout out to Rick Bowling as well. And yay! My
Yay!
quarantine patron, Courtney Coles, is on the series today. We'll be talking about a whole bunch of stuff.
Yay.
We were talking a little bit before. Oh, wait, first, Courtney is a photographer. She's awesome. She is. Oh, wait, sorry. Are your pronouns she, her?
Yes.
Okay, that worked out. We should have discussed that earlier. And actually, you have a group called To the Front DIY. Is that correct?
Yes. To the front.
To the front, and we're going to talk about that because I love music photography and I love that stuff. So we have already someone saying hello. Hey, thank you,
Hi.
Margaret. How's it going? All right, so that works out. Courtney's popular. All right.
I don't
Um,
even know where to look. Where are you looking at this? It's
oh,
okay.
it's my secret screen.
I'm like, what screen is this? I want to say hi.
Oh, she can hear you. She can hear you. I don't know if Fancy Margaret is watching on YouTube or Twitch.
Hi, Margaret. If this is the Margaret I'm thinking of, hi, Margaret.
Oh, okay, good. As long as you know. She's like, haha, I following on Instagram. Okay.
Oh yeah, we're on Instagram too. This is great.
She's your fault. No. She says, I'm good. Haha. I'm a follower of Courtney's from Instagram.
Got it. Okay.
So she knows, yeah. So that's good. At least she knows your work. So I'm really excited about that. Okay, so you graduated from college in 2019 before the panty hit. Congratulations on that. You
Thank you.
managed to avoid the 2020 not having a graduation type thing.
Yeah. It's weird.
That was sad. I felt so bad for people. I'm like, oh my God.
So me and my friends, yeah, it was weird it's
Mm-hmm.
still weird to be the last graduating class from Cal Arts that had an actual anything. Like we had a last thesis show, last big party
Mm-hmm.
graduation thing, and
Mm-hmm.
just for it to be like shut down prematurely because I went
Oh.
to a couple of friends their thesis shows and it was like literally the week that things were kind of closed down. I was like, you
Mm-hmm.
can't tell me what to do. I'm going to go to school. It's totally fine. It was a ghost town and it was so
Wow.
having the gallery spaces to myself. And then that was like the week that
Mm-hmm.
lockdown happened and I was like, this
Mm-hmm.
is so strange to like spend 2 years
Crazy.
working on a body of work and then nothing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Nothing. So
I
yeah.
know in St. Louis, we had a lot of private galleries um, showcase the students' work
Mm.
individually. So I think maybe if the gallery reached out to a particular student, then they would invite them to have their thesis show in their gallery space. And then, of course, make that virtual
Yeah.
because our appointment only. I remember so many, like, you just can't go into galleries anymore. It's like, let me call up front and make sure they have space for me and what their protocols are and everything. And actually, I just got vaccinated, so I'm hoping I will
Yay.
be free to wander about St. Louis and the
Read
country,
all
maybe even the
like
world.
all the things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Leave and do all the yeah.
I need to,
Talk
and one thing that this quarantine has really proven to me is that I need to leave St. Louis sometimes. I need to get out. Like I need to I'm 40 years old. I've been in, like I was telling you, I've been in St. Louis for like 10 years and I haven't gone anywhere. Not
You
even
gotta
to
go.
Chicago.
No, you gotta just do it. Just
I
hop in a car
know.
and like do it.
I
Of course,
know.
like, things are safer, but like
Yeah.
go.
I'm out. I'm like, get me a plane on Southwest. I'm leaving. I need to get out of here. Okay. So I want to transition to your work.
Yes.
Mm, So thank you, Margaret. Margaret's like, get your travel on. Yes, when it's safe. LOL. That's correct. Okay. So it's so funny how similar our artwork is, and I don't know if it's so funny because we grew up I'm in the Midwest and you're on the coast, And as I understand it, you grew up on the coast. Is that correct?
Yeah, I grew up in LA.
Yeah, you grew up in LA. We have such different lives, and yet our photography is pretty much the same.
So similar.
Um,
Yeah, I think that's how I found you. Like, it must have been some random Instagram account or something, but it was a photograph of your mother. And
mm,
I'm just drawn to photographs of moms in general, just like
yes,
that relationship and just like, tell me more. And
yes,
instantly
yes.
love at first sight. And then I
Speaking
think
of,
my
okay.
mom, yeah, I was like drawn to your work and I was just, it was, yeah, mesmerized and instant fan.
Mhm. Well, thank
Inspired me for
you.
that.
Same. I just love the fact that you are a band photographer. That you photograph musicians, like, that is amazing. That's always the dream as a photographer, you
At
know?
least to me it
But
was. It was always like the thing to,
yeah.
yeah, of course your friends and family, but I always wanted to photograph musicians. At least
Mhm,
from I think 12 on, like 12, 13 on, I wanted to like somehow photograph musicians and be in that space with them. And the fact that
mhm.
a job I made up when I was a kid, like, yeah, photograph bands and internet, whatever. The
It
fact that it
works
became
out.
an actual job was like, oh, that I lied. I was just kidding. That was I was 12. It was 2002. Like that's the internet was nothing back then. Like
No, no. Do you remember
floppy
the dial-up?
building. What was that?
Do you remember the dial-up, the AOL?
Oh yes,
The,
my mom used to get very
AOL,
upset
yeah.
that I would be on AOL 'cause she needed the phone for work, and I was just like chatting
Mhm.
away and like finding bands, and then she's like, "Courtney, 20
Yes.
minutes tops. Stop, stop logging on." And so when we got the not dial-up CD, whatever AOL, we had
Mhm,
actual like internet. It
mhm.
changed the game, but I remember having to like space out my internet use because like mom needed it for work or like the
Right.
phone might be tied up because of the whole like dial-up thing. So it's just that whole space of
Mhm.
stuff. But sorry, mom, forever sorry.
Right? Forever sorry for this. Whatever, it's fine. Oh, we have another comment. Give me just a second. It says, question to you both. This is from Travel Agent Rick. Was it difficult to gain photographing your moms or did it come naturally? My mom hates it, but I do it to her anyway. And then she'll warm up to it. How was your mom?
um, I think she was very much the same. Probably, I think she. Every time I tried photographing her, before calling it art, it was always just more like I want photos, for myself.
Mhm. Yeah.
She was always kind of like, I want to be, I want to wear makeup, I want to like look my best and
Mhm. Mhm.
stuff. But I think it slowly became a thing of like, oh, Courtney always has her camera, so it's no big deal. Or, oh, why are you always photographing me, not your dad? And go photograph Britt and Carl. I'm just like, well, I want to photograph you. And so it became a
Yeah.
thing where up until I started winning awards was when she like after the awards started coming in, she stopped
Mhm.
being like, stop. Now it's like, okay, I'm I'm the reason why you have all these things. And it's like, oh, now you have a big head and I can't
Mhm.
get away
Mhm.
from it. But now it's like, well, you deserve.
Uh-oh.
Oh, did I freeze?
I think did you freeze or did I
Okay.
freeze?
I think I'm moving. Here we go.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, we're back. Yay.
I was like,
Okay.
no, I froze.
The
But yeah,
internet.
so it was until I think like when I won some awards in undergrad was when
Mhm.
she kind of like started just like letting it happen.
Mhm.
And but there's still moments where she's just like, oh, I'm not feeling well. And so
Mhm.
I respond to that as, well, I don't want to photograph you not your best, or you're not feeling good, you're having issues,
Mhm.
whatever. I don't want to have my camera in your face and just like do my thing. But it
Yeah.
definitely was a low burn of like, mom, please, I promise. And there's always a lot of like, I'll show you what the photos look like, so I'm not just bringing any old thing into the
Right.
classroom. Like,
Yeah. You're way nicer to your mom than I did. I was just like, "You're in your underwear? Excellent. Photograph. I'm taking this shot." I mean,
yeah,
like, let's
I
just
read the room. I was like, all right, what can I get away with? But
no. I
of
mean, I make
photos.
this is the one she wanted to photograph. So sometimes we'll barter. We'll
Same,
barter.
yeah, same.
Like you take a picture of me and my favorites. What is it, Santa Claus? Because she collects Santa Clauses.
I love that.
And I will let you photograph me like this.
Same.
So
Mom.
it was just, and this is of course my dad in the background. And what's funny about this series, I thought it was more about my dad. It ended up being totally about my mom. And it's crazy. It's crazy that you felt the same way.
Yeah. I thought it was
But
about me,
mhm.
but me definitely is about me, but it was a lot of me trying to kind of keep a record of this person
Mhm.
who has lived such a life. And
Yeah.
also my very much big obsession with home and like where I come from and where we come from and how
Mhm.
to understand that I was like, I must go to the source, and to go to the source, I must
Mhm.
go to her source, which is like, back home in Albany, Georgia.
Oh,
And so
wow.
my thesis project was, it started off as a whole, we're finally going back to your home, and like this can like put a like end to my big my big like home project. And it
Right.
ended up being so much more of a, oh, in your home space, and I'm seeing all this, and like it brought a lot of feelings about just like me being queer and me just coming to terms of like, slowly coming out
Mhm.
to myself and going, in order to
Mhm.
finish this project, I have to come out to my mom. And I'm like, I'm not ready for that, because
Yeah.
I never wanted it to be a whole like parade of like, I'm gay, here we are. I just wanted to live
Mhm.
my life.
Mhm.
And she ended up, Twitter ended up outing me to my mom. And it was just this whole funny,
But
funny
your
thing.
mom
But
won. Your mom has Twitter? What?
that's what I know. Backing up. So this woman takes 1,000 years to respond to any text message. She
Mhm.
reads things in real time, but she just doesn't care
Mhm.
for it. She has a Facebook and Instagram. She never uses her Instagram. Like if you look at her page, like it's just a tag photos or all my photos of her. So she's that. But
Wow.
anyways, my mom, who does not know how to text me back promptly, I'm on my phone at a friend's house and we're having dinner, and I'm like, it was back when Twitter used to text you like updates and stuff. So
Mhm.
I got like a text saying like your contact Jewel Coles made a Twitter account. I'm like, huh, funny. And then like your contact Jewel Coles start following you. I'm like, huh, of course. And then like
Yeah.
less than 5 seconds later, I get a text saying, why does your Twitter account say gay film photographer? And I'm sitting on my friend's couch in shock, just like, oh my God. And I'm
Wow.
dude. And then she's like, what? I'm like, look. And then she's like, congratulations, you're out to your mom. And I
Wow.
wanted it to happen. Like I did not
Yeah.
want the internet to out me. I wanted to tell her myself. And
Yeah.
so I sent her a meme of Quinta Bronson, and she was like, immediately, mind you, she can't text back promptly.
Uh-huh.
Immediately she goes, what does that mean? Because the meme said people be gay. She's like, what does that mean? And I'm like, it means I'm gay, mom. Like, not how I want to tell you, but here we are. But so
Wow.
up until that point, my thesis was about the family, like, her family and our ties to
Mhm.
um slavery and everything, because like our family church was like given to us from like the old slave
Mhm.
whatever. And so it
Mhm.
was like all of that, and then it became a whole like, crap, this is about me now, and I don't want it to be about be about
Right?
me. So it became, this project was called Long Way Home, and half of the space was photographs of my mother going back home for her
Mhm.
mother's centennial birthday. She died 10 years, or at the time 10 years ago, and so
Mhm.
it's like pretty much celebrating her 100th birthday family reunion thing.
Mhm.
And the other half were photographs from my photo booth project, which
Mhm.
chronicled my entire like coming out process to me, just coming out in the photo booth. And in the
Wow.
middle was a kind of like mock living room set, like just a couch and a side table and a lamp. And in the
Mhm.
corner of the gallery was a text message of my mom asking me why it says I'm gay. But so yeah, it was a whole like coming to terms, and like me being obsessed with my mother, and like finding out that it was less about me looking at her for like guidance, and me kind of like looking into her, or looking up to her, and kind of
Mhm.
finding like my sense of self, and just really kind of like owning up the kind of woman I am, and like who I am as a person. Because like
Mhm.
watching her growing up, just like the strongest, most amazing person I've ever met. And it's just like, how
Yeah.
can you go through so much like terrible stuff and still be like standing here smiling and like, by the grace of God, I'm here. It's like, oh my God, you've literally lived through hell. Like,
I know.
like
Same
all
with
of
my
that
mom.
kind of like,
Mhm.
yeah, I thought it was one thing, became another thing, and it's still continually growing to be another thing, because it's more than just photographs of my mom and like all of that. It's preserving history and like letting it be its own living document. So when she does inevitably pass,
Mm,
I have these photographs of her to kind of like trace my family history and build upon
mhm,
that and like make my own history and like, or make
mm.
believe histories and just like all of that.
I love that. Love it. I mean, it's kind of the thing with I do with my mom where we walk through the park 3 days a week, 2 days a week, and I'm constantly taking photos of her. And she, of course, she hates it still, but she's getting used to it. And then, but she's always like, "Look at the waterfowl, Tiffany. Let's take pictures of that. Like, take a picture with me with the ducks that are geese actually, but she calls ducks. So, her general term is waterfowl,
Oh,
and it's so hysterical to me, but like I swear we're two of the same mind because I had a photo booth series and I wish but I had actual photo I was in like you, I was in an actual photo booth when
mhm.
those happened and they were in black and white and I would have crying sessions like this.
Oh my gosh, yay.
Yes, I would have these like are we sisters? We even oh my goodness.
I have the other, I don't think you saw it, but it's I think it's Public Confessions. That's where my other
Ooh,
photo strips are in. And
yeah.
because this project started because of COVID and
Oh
just
yeah,
in
that's right.
response, yeah, in response to not wanting to end the series. But
Mhm.
so
There we
these
go.
some of these made it to my thesis show because it was like after my mid-res at CalArts. um,
Mhm.
it was back home and I was just so tired, so burnt out of talking about my family. And I was like, no, putting a putting a pin in this. We're gonna circle back
Mhm.
later. I'm very tired. I don't uh and so I had my entire like box of photo strips and I figured,
Mhm.
all right, if I'm gonna be in the studio, I might as well stay busy doing something. Let me scan these. And then as I
Right.
was scanning them, I noticed right around the time I started grad school that there was like a weird shift in like my body language, just like, spark in my
Mhm.
eye kind of thing. And I was like, what does this mean? Because up until that point, it's just like photo booth, whatever. And I realized that was right around the time I had come out to myself, like actually like, oh no, very much
Mhm.
gay. Here we are. But I didn't tell anyone yet. And
Mhm.
like it's weird how like that shift happened. And as I was going further back into the history of my, archive, I realized I used the booth as a way to kind of like ask those questions like, who am I? What am
Oh.
I doing? Like, why am I here? And the photo booth was reflecting back, those emotions. And
Mhm.
so I use the booth as like a coming out process kind of thing. And then the history of the queers and booths and
Mhm.
all of that, how it's a
Mhm.
private yet public space. And that's just me being a total nerd about histories
Yes.
and archives and gays in space. But
Games in space. That's soon to come. Oh, that sounds like a TV show.
it should be TV show.
It should be a TV show. What are you watching today? Gays in space.
Gays in
Perfect.
space. It's
Let's
fine.
binge that. How did your mom react? I mean, like, okay, so now you've come out as gay over Twitter, which still shocks me. My mom does
Mind
not know how to
bio.
use
Like
her
the woman
texting.
doesn't even use her Twitter. Like it's just
I
so things
know.
I think she knew. Like of course parents
Mhm.
know everything, but it's
Mhm.
like a wanting it to kind of like rip the band-aid off. She
Right.
didn't talk to me or she didn't respond to my text and I was like shaking. So I texted my sister and I was like, what's mom doing? She's like, oh, she's on her tablet watching the news. I'm like, she's ignoring my text. And then I sent her a screenshot. And then she was like, well, at least she knows no, right? And I'm like, that's not the reaction I wanted. So
No,
yeah,
you want let's oh.
it was like 3 days of silence because our schedules were kind of like flipped. Like when I woke up, she was sleeping. When I came home, she was awake. So it was like a weird
Mhm,
kind of thing.
mhm,
And it turned out that she was waiting for me to come to her, as our family does. We don't talk about anything. It's more like
mhm,
if you want me to know, you'll tell me. If not, we'll just
mhm,
like let it be.
mhm,
And so there are a lot of awkward questions, a lot of just like, maybe you just haven't met the right guy. And it's like having
mhm,
to tell her, like, I did. We tried it out. And like, it's not like it was like, he was the wrong person. It was more of a, this just felt wrong. And so it was a
mhm,
lot of me having to kind of like
mhm.
get her to understand that I'm genuinely happy. Like, even the girls I was dating who were like, we're not good people, it still was a thing
Wow.
that it felt right. Like, this felt like I should be doing this thing. And I guess it was just she wanted us, like all three of us, to be happy, like no matter
Mhm.
who or what we're doing. My
Mhm.
parents really wanted that, and she was unable to make it to my thesis show because she felt very
Mhm.
sick. My
Mm.
dad was there, and he made a video of the entire show.
Yay.
He sent to her, and that was like nerve wracking because I never came out to my dad. So for him to probably read that in real
Oh,
time,
wow.
I'm like, ah, it's funny, but it was just parents still love me. It's great. Like
Yay.
it's yeah. So it felt like I don't know, weight was lifted off my shoulder, and I was able to kind of like
Mhm.
actually fully make work now and not feel like I was hiding something
Yeah.
because if anything, I do use my work as a way to kind of like it's my diary. It's like you're reading my diary. This is it.
Mhm.
The things I can't verbally say, you can see it in the photographs. And the questions, I'll answer it. But like for me to raise my hand, and go, all right, we're talking about this, so I can't do
Yeah.
it because it's heavy. it's
I understand.
so yeah.
So Fancy Margaret, who I'm loving this name, Margaret.
I
This is
love this
can
name,
I
Fancy
be
Margaret.
Fancy Tiffany? You could be Fancy Courtney. This would be fine.
Heck
She
yeah.
asked, "Do you think there is something about how you can't really edit or reshoot photo booth photos the same way as a traditional portrait? Like it makes a more permanent snapshot." Um, wow, I didn't think about that myself. What are your thoughts on that?
There are shifts where I'll like get this, I watch it develop and like see it and go like,
Mhm.
don't like that, and I'll hop back in and like
Mhm.
tweak something. But
Right.
I I love it because as someone who's very like, it must look this way.
Mhm.
To like give up control in that sense and like let the booth do its thing. Because sometimes it's just the chemistry is out or the chemistry is wonky and you get like a weird sepia tone thing. You're
Yeah.
like, okay, this is not what I want, but it's what's
Mhm.
being produced, and having to like let go of that, it
Mhm.
really taught me the patience I needed to like make other bodies of work. And I love it. It's probably the only instance where I do like, all right, I can't redo this, so it's gonna
Mhm.
take another $3 and I'm not wasting another $3 on this strip. Or now I'm using Polaroid. So it's like, okay, that's
Mhm.
don't like how that Polaroid came out, but I'm also not gonna keep taking it over and over. It's
Mhm.
the one I wanted,
Mhm.
and it really does kind of like force me to be okay with what is being presented to the camera. Like I can
Right.
dress all I want, I can like perform all I want, and what I'm thinking is happening is not being reflected on the film. That's
Mhm.
beyond me. Like I can't fix
Mhm.
chemistry. So
Exactly. I've gotten used to I've gotten to the point where I can really explain a bad photo. I can over explain a photo to make it a good photo. Like justification in my mind is like well, for instance, when I first started doing double exposures, I was like, oh crap, I didn't mean for this to happen.
yeah.
Okay, what can I think of to make this work? How can I make the double exposures work? And then and then like a godsend, it becomes the infiniteness and the dualness of females and fruit. It just means so much because we're so many things to so many people. And I'm like, well, that works.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that works. So that,
I feel like most art is that way where you're like, it's an accident and you're like, how can
yeah.
I BS this? And it becomes an actual thing. So you spend time trying to like make your theory right and like prove it right. So
Mhm.
you like do all this, whatever. But I love that. Like most of what I do start off as an accident, or like, wouldn't it be
Yeah.
funny if I did and it became a thing? Like
Mhm.
I'm like, what? Because I remember
Mhm.
there's a Polaroid of me New Year's Eve 2017, whatever, and
Mhm.
drunk on my friend's couch, and it was in response to Carrie Mae Weems's
Mm.
Woman Who Fallen from Grace, and
Mhm.
I was like, wouldn't it be funny if I just like wrote "Good Christian Woman" as a caption for this, and it became an actual thing I did.
Wow. Is that
And I was
on
like,
your is that
I
on
don't
your
think it's on my website, but it's probably on my. I don't think it's on any of my things, but yeah,
mm.
it's where would it be?
Is it under
Mm,
daily rituals? No.
no, darn, it's on my website. So it's
Oh
definitely
baby.
I had definitely made it during grad school, but I have. Oh
Mhm.
wait, I have the actual prints. Please,
Oh yay.
I just took off my wall. It's hilarious. All right, where are you? Nope. How are you? I know you're here.
I talk to my photos too. Just keep talking to it; it'll come around. While you're looking, I'll say this. Fancy Margaret says, "I love that. What a good mindset. I think accepting imperfections and flexibility is something we all ought to work on. I think being an artist means you're flexible. I don't really just how it is. Oh, yeah,
And then like the caption.
yeah, yeah. Portrait of oh man, so many things about that. Wait, did you print that yourself?
Yeah, so it's a test print I
Mhm.
made in grad school.
Mm.
So it was like one of the because I made a lot of test prints, just like have things on the wall to kind of like see
Yeah.
sequence stuff. But yeah,
Mhm.
most of my test prints I've kept and I have them framed in my house because of course I have photos of myself framed in my home. But yeah, so that started as an accident and it became a whole let me look at
Mhm.
photo strips of myself and like what does this mean
Nice.
in photography and
Nice.
beautiful.
Okay, so we were actually also going to talk about your to the front. I
Yeah.
noticed that you don't have any of that on your website, but that's okay.
It's in the I believe it's in my about, and then like the link to the front is like
Oh,
under.
I see.
I think I have a linked. I think it should be linked. Hopefully, it's linked.
We'll find out. Yes, it
If
is.
not, I will
Okay.
fix it. Okay.
To the front. Oh man, look at these badass chicks. All right, they're doing it. How do you feel oftentimes being the only black person in the room with bands like this or being within this group?
I think there's a couple. There's definitely a couple more now, not just me. But it
Mhm.
before moving to Portland, it was a thing I was definitely aware of, but I wasn't
Mhm.
like it didn't like get under my skin. It didn't really bother me.
Mhm.
I have friends like who listen to this kind of music and like who I see at shows and will get mistaken from one another at shows,
Yes.
but
Yes.
it was never a thing that made me go like, "Oh, I'm the only black girl here." It was just like
Mhm.
a, "I'm here for the band. I'm with my
Mhm.
sister. We're fine."
Yeah.
I think moving through like photo and like doing what I do, of course, there's other black photographers, but it was just something that made it very much like in your face. And I think
Mhm.
it was definitely after Ferguson
Oh wow.
I was like so hyper aware of like my blackness. Like I mean, I've always
Mhm.
been aware that I'm black, but it was
Right.
very in my face. I had just gone off doing a work tour, and I had a very awful encounter with a security guard in Hartford, Connecticut,
Mm.
and I like this the bubble I was in was like such a loving space.
Mhm.
I was on a bus with a great bunch of dudes. I think two of which were black. So I'm like, yay, we're family. It's great. And so
Yeah.
it's totally safe bubble I was in. So to have this very awful racist encounter happen, and for me to have to like in real time understand like where I was in the country, what was happening, what
Mhm.
happened, and like watching warp security kind of like try to calm me down because he knew what was happening but he couldn't do anything, so it's a whole
Mhm.
thing of like wow, I don't like this feeling of
Yeah,
like
of
having to
course not.
explain what this to someone else like harmless. No, it's not
Mhm.
harmless. It was very violent, it was very awful,
Mhm.
and so to have
Mhm.
that kind of like carry into Ferguson and then
Mhm.
carry into like me having to kind of keep a straight face of like I'm terrified but I also want to be here, like I really want to be amongst my friends.
Mhm.
It made I don't know, it's hard because I mean,
Yeah.
there's being a woman in, in any industry, but it's also being a black woman. You get to kind of explain the like
Mhm.
covert things that happen that you can't like really verbally explain, what the energy feels like when someone's speaking to you. You're like, oh, you didn't catch that? And then having to explain it, you're like, how can I make you understand that like I'm not making this up? So it's a lot of me having to
Mhm.
still having to choose, what do I want to say? What do I want to keep in a group chat? What do I want to like actually really, like
Right.
blow over or like go into? And with To the Front, it's been like another safe space of like the outside world is so not good, but
Mhm.
these individuals who are like totally going against everything to make their art, I
Mhm.
love it. And the fact that we both found, like me and Eric are both found this on the premise of, you know what, let's just choose ourselves. Like no one else is choosing us. We're gonna choose
Wow.
ourselves. Let's just have our friends do it and our friends of friends. And then let's open it up to other people because like we
Mhm.
really say no because we know what no feels like. We want
Yeah.
everyone to feel like they're welcome in our space.
Yeah,
And
this group got big.
yeah, started before, now it's like over 50 and we're
Wow.
I love it. It's like one of the things that keeps me from not being completely out of love with music. Like I have said multiple times, I'm retired. I no longer do this and blah blah whatever. But then I still am heavily involved in like, let's do this thing. Like let's do this because it's just I don't know. It's the one good thing that's happening in such a very dark space. Like entertainment industry is just dark, and so
Yeah.
having
Wow.
having light like this is just it makes it worth it. It makes it like at least for me, it makes me not focus so much on like the shittiness of
Right.
it's like, well, okay, yeah, the grand scheme of things is awful, but these people make it
Mhm.
worthwhile and I'm gonna stick
Mhm.
with them because I'd rather be with like-minded individuals than fighting on my own. So that's what To Be
And
Friend
I
is.
totally understand that. I completely understand. You have to have a safe place for yourself,
Yeah. It's
and
not that you're like out there by yourself and it's
mhm,
not fun floating alone. Like you need to have your life support. Like
mhm.
we all need help.
Yeah, I don't really care who it is either, as long as they support me in my special way.
Yeah.
I used to love Metallica.
Oh, that's
Mm.
Megadeth.
Oh my god, I'm so wrong. My friends are gonna kill me. Let's talk about her.
Hypercary.
Let's talk about someone else because I my friends are gonna kill me because I
I
said
mean, you can
that.
just like edit that out, like pretend no one saw that. It's totally fine.
Right? Right? Yeah, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. It's just I'm gonna switch to your Instagram account if that's okay.
Cool. It's right at the bottom.
Duh. I'm so smart. Okay, here we
Okay.
go. Oh, is that me? Okay, so I noticed that um your Instagram is filled with awesome stuff as well. We have Oh wait, tell us more about this project.
Oh, with Wall Street?
Oh, is that what Wall Yes. How? How did you get a job with Wall Street? That's freaking amazing. Two, how was it working with them? And three, what was the did you pitch the assignment or just go through the details?
So I freelance with Wall Street once in a while, like every few months or so. I think this is
Mhm.
my fifth assignment I have from them. But to your
Mm,
friend, my friend Angela, she's a photo editor, and it was
mm,
during grad school. And before grad school, I made it known to everyone I'm not working for the next 2 years. Don't call me. I can't. I'm nope.
mhm,
Have no time. Don't call me.
mhm.
And then
Wow.
I did an email because I just my brain couldn't like separate anything, and I kept saying no to jobs because I really wanted to focus on my studio practice, and
Mhm,
it was I think sometime in the spring semester, my first year. I get an email from Angela asking if I was available. I think that weekend or that Friday, whatever, for a
right.
behind the scenes thing that she was working on with Wall Street. And I was like, I can be available. I can be available. Like, yes. And so
Yes.
I made some photos for that. And that was the only job I did for a hot second. And then
Mhm,
she hired me again. And then COVID happened. And I was just like,
mm,
well, looks like I'm not working ever again because
mhm,
all my fields of income just don't exist because events and all that didn't exist. And
mhm,
reached a point of like not trying or reached a point of trying to figure out what I wanted to do now that I had nothing else to do. And
right.
I became more intentional about the work I wanted to take on because if I was going to be out risking my life, it needs to be for things I actually believe in and like not just like
Right.
saying yes for a paycheck. I mean, I never said yes for a paycheck, but like just saying yes to anything. Like I was like, all right,
Mhm.
can't keep this going, but also be sustainable. And
Right.
I Angela reached out to me again about COVID training, and that was last August. And so now
Mhm.
that I did all the COVID training, I guess I'm like on a on the system of, oh, these photographers have been trained, they're in this area, reach out to them for these stories. And so this, along with the last one we looked at, I was reached
Mhm.
out by editor named Emil. So amazing. And just like, I was like, I can be available next week. So it's totally fine. I'm very flexible. It's great. And it
Wow.
made me cry because it was quite literally a few weeks after I had put it in my website, what I wanted to work with, like what I wanted to do. And
Mhm.
um, it was just proof that when you're intentional about the things you want to make and like what you want to do, the universe will literally go, oh, you're serious. Here
Mhm.
you go. Because at first I'd go, oh, yeah, I want to do this thing. But I was very passive about it until I had shown Paul and a friend of mine named my website, and they were like, "You need to be more intentional about what you want to make. Like, if you want to do photos of Black mothers and like Black women in general, have some
Mhm.
things on your website that points to that, and also say
Mhm.
it what you want because editors are not gonna like look for things; they want to see it and they want to have your proof of it." And so
Nice.
Wall Street has been like such a, even though it's been 5 assignments, it's still been like five of the greatest things I've done,
Mhm.
because it's just
Mhm.
things I care about. And the fact that I didn't have to pitch pitching, because pitching's hard. Pitching is so hard because I don't want to be
Yeah.
rejected. But um yeah, so that's one client here and there.
That's amazing. How freaking cool. I think what interests me about your work at first were all of the posts you
But
would get
you don't want to see that.
about. I'm sorry.
Well, you don't want to see that. That's a thing that should probably be deleted. But oh,
Well, we'll talk about something else. Wait,
oh
hold on. I know this person. How do I know this person?
musician?
Oh, is this? I want to
They.
say Courtney. Oh, sorry.
They.
Are they Courtney?
No,
Oh, wait, go ahead.
I'm laughing because you said Courtney.
I know. I know this person.
Oh my gosh, my brain is like fogging. How do I not remember my own friend's name?
Yeah.
Oh,
I sorry.
their band's name is Warriors. Oh my gosh, it's gonna kill me.
Okay.
My literal friend. Oh my gosh, it'll come to me. Is it not in the caption? No,
No,
probably
I
not.
don't see it. No. Oh, that's all. Okay. Well, we'll just go move on from there.
It's fine. No, I'm gonna. This is embarrassing. Like this always happens. When I'm like on the spot. Like, what's this? I'm like, oh my god, that's. And I'm like, oh no, here we are.
Mhm.
Please hold. Keep going.
Okay.
Keep going.
Please hold.
No, keep going.
Okay. Uh,
Lauren. Their name.
Lauren. Okay.
I'm like, how do I forget?
Yeah, I've
It's like
seen
I
them
was just
before.
talking about these photos. Yeah. No, they're a musician and they needed new photos for, I guess, the band's just like socials and stuff. And also
Hmm.
updated photos because it had been a hot second.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't a planned photo shoot or
Well,
anything.
no, it definitely was, but it was
Oh,
definitely a
let's go back to
any
it.
photos
Actually.
by any photos by this day for this thing, and here
Hmm.
we are. And so yeah, they reached out to me.
Wow.
And that was, yeah, that's also right. Like that, along with I think two other friends had reached out
Hmm.
around the same time where I made it very intentional about what I wanted to make and like
Hmm.
what I wanted to do. And it was right after I actually like said the whole, I'm retired from music photography and no longer doing this. Like if I work with
Hmm.
artists, it's because they're friends or friends of friends, or it's a project I fully support, because I was just so tired of.
Hmm.
I was so tired of fighting. I still am tired of fighting. I don't want to fight for a job.
The hustle and the struggle of the hustle is real and it drives me crazy. But I know uh, it- I apply for a lot of grants
Mm.
and I am tired of it. I am tired of being, and then I'm tired of being one of like, even if it's 100 people to try to get this grant. I mean, you go through so much stuff only for them to say, "Oh, we had so many grant applications this time around,"
Just give
and
me
you're
money.
like,
Give me $1.
just like crazy. Oh, we have another one from Travel Agent Rick. What? It's like only him and Fancy Margaret.
It's okay.
Okay,
It was
that's
still
okay.
safe. It's very
They're
early on the West Coast for a
oh,
weekend. So
oh, that's right. I
it's
forget about
yeah, it's
time
10:40 here.
zones.
Totally
Time
fine.
zones. You both talk about Paul and Pagi Sequoia being very supportive. Did you um did you study with Paul at UCLA? You didn't go to UCLA.
CalArts.
CalArts, yeah, CalArts. Okay, just making sure that I was wrong. Oh, sorry, Celia. My bad. She's she's like, I'm here. Yeah. So I'm just noticing that, like, oh, when Paul likes my work, I'm like, oh my God, rich and famous Paul likes my work. I can't believe it. I have finally made it. I'm trying to find one where I'm sure he likes a lot of your stuff actually. But I want to know how that all, like, he likes this one. How?
That how?
How?
Uh,
Cuz you told me privately, but let's explain it to everyone else.
I would love to.
Yeah.
So Paul was a mentor of mine at CalArts, and I met him during my interview for CalArts. It was like interview
Mhm.
day, and I was very nervous. And I don't remember if they tell you who you're meeting with. They
Mhm.
must. Definitely before applying to CalArts, I did my research of who would I possibly be studying with, who taught there, who was
Mhm.
there, whatever. So
Right.
I was introduced to his work via that because he was like on the website and everything. Immediately fell in love with his work and thought to
Yeah.
myself, all right, if anything, like I hope I work with Paul Sequoia because that'd be so amazing and so important, to have someone have a black artist, help me kind of like put
Mhm.
language to my emotions, how I'm making photographs
Right.
and everything. And so when my interview kind of like roster came up, it was Paul Spulia, Ellen Burrell,
Mm.
and Joanne Callis, who I
Mhm.
love. So it's like, okay, three artists I love.
Mhm.
I'm not nervous,
Yeah.
whatever, nah. And so I get in there, and I
Mm.
think my interview is right before lunch, so like everyone's a little bit hangry and like let's go.
Mhm.
And I
Mm.
walk
More
in,
emotional.
more emotional. And mind you, I'm sweating bricks. I'm just like, I'm nervous. I'm sweating. And
Right.
God. And so walk
Yeah.
in, and the three of them were sitting on a couch. And I was just like, okay. There's
Oh.
one chair like across from them. And I'm like, I walk in and I sit down and I'm like, I'm gonna lower this down because it was like very, very high. And Ellen's like, you're the first person to actually like, lower the seat down. And I was like thinking to myself, oh no, I failed the test.
Yes, yes.
I'm so nervous. And I think I like nervous you said, oh, it's because like there's a weird hierarchy, like I'm above you and you're below me. I just want to be eye to eye, whatever.
Mhm.
And
Oh, there
so
you go.
we they go into my portfolio, like ask me to talk about my body of work. And I submitted photos of like self portraits, photos of my friends in their bedrooms and my mom. And
Mhm.
we spoke a lot about my mother. And it made me very emotional because I had never spoken about
Mhm.
her, and also that body of work ever, like maybe like in undergrad, but like in that time span, I had
Mhm.
spoken about it. And it got to the
Oh,
point
wow.
where I was getting emotional. And I noticed that they were also getting emotional. And then I think I made Ellen cry. And then like
Oh,
Joanne was like tearing up and Paul was just
mhm.
like I was like, cool, I'm not getting into the school, like
Yeah.
sick, whatever. Turns out I got in. So that was the beginning of that. But
Right.
I took two of his classes, and they were to this day probably my favorite classes because it
Mhm.
really kind of like changes, or at least changed the way I like view art. Like I've always
Mhm.
seen art a certain way. Like I interact with things, if I don't like it, I don't like it. If I like it, I want to know more about it. And Paul was very great at kind of just like, showing us different portraitures and like how
Mhm.
to really think about photography outside of like the wall. And like, cause I'm like, zines, books, let's do these tangible things. And he had a
Mhm.
class called Off the Wall, how to make photographs that
Mm.
exist not on, museum walls. And
Mhm.
when it came to my thesis year, everyone had to choose because you have your assigned mentor, and then for thesis
Mm.
you have like an advisor, like someone else who kind of helps guide you through making your thesis. And I don't know why I was nervous to ask
Mm.
Paul, but I
Yeah.
was like, I'm gonna ask Paul, to be my mentor. But he was like very, very busy. It was like right when his career started getting way busy.
Mhm.
And I was like,
Mhm.
I don't want to take up too much of his time because he's like traveling a lot and
Right.
ridicule me, whatever. But he was like, no, yeah, of course, I will be honored to be your advisor. And I was just like, cool. It was like
Wow.
he kicked my butt in the most loving way. Like he asked
Yeah.
questions because his favorite question was why photography? Why, photography? I kept saying, I don't know. It's the
Mhm.
language I know. Like I can't do anything else. I don't know. And
Mhm.
realizing that he kept asking,
Mhm.
like, why this photograph? Why you? Why this? All these questions that,
Mhm.
on the surface seem very like flippant. They're actually, no, no,
Yeah.
no. I'm not just asking just to be annoying. I want you to really think why this photograph needs to exist. Why now? Why
Mhm.
you making this photograph now for this to exist? And
Mhm.
it kind of like added on to my obsession of why do I do this thing? Like, why should this exist? Like, why?
Yeah.
And it carried on to, why a photo booth? Why this photo booth? Why these colors in this? So much of that became a thing.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
having Paul on my team was, I don't know, it's
Hmm.
amazing. It's like because he genuinely cares about each of his students, and it's
Oh.
not just for a check. It's like, no, I want to be here. Like, I want you to want to be here. Like, let's make you the best you. Like, let's do this things. I remember saying one time in like one of our meetings, I just want my teachers to love my work. It's like, no, 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 no. Do you love your
Mhm.
work? Do you love this photograph? Is this a thing you like? Like,
Mhm.
if you like it, that's all that matters. And it's like, that's obvious. Like, why have I been out here just making things, hoping
Mhm.
that someone will get it? It's like, if you get it and you
Mhm.
comprehend it, that's all that matters. And it's like,
That's
well,
so
duh.
cool.
Like, so yeah, having Paul as a mentor, even post grad, because I was very nervous to reach out to him after graduating. Because it's like, well,
Mhm.
yes, you gave me your email address, and like, yes, you want me to reach out to you. I'm still not going to do it because I don't want to bother you because you're so busy.
Right, right.
Being an
Even
artist.
though they're asking. He's
Yeah,
asking.
literally begging me. Like him and my mentor Ashley were literally begging Courtney, if you need something, let us know. I'm like, it's fine. I got this. I can do it. I'm an adult.
Mhm.
Whatever. I'm 30.
Mhm.
It's fine. So
Can
when I
I
reached
get
out to Paul,
mentored?
he was very so he pretty much went through my website and was like, remove all of this.
Oh,
Remove all of it. And I was like, I'm not ready for
yeah.
this. Because at
Oh,
the time I was
wow.
just like, I work in music. I do blah blah whatever. He's like, no, no, you're an artist who gets commissioned to make photographs in the industry. Like two different things.
Mhm.
And I was like, how are
Mhm.
you so intelligent and
Wow.
so precise and so intentional with everything you say? And so yeah, through his guidance and through the guidance of a friend of mine named O, it was just like the push I needed to like kind of stop having a pity party of like, oh man, COVID happened. Oh man, whatever.
Mhm.
It's like, well, yeah, it happened to all of us. What are you gonna
Yeah.
do? What are you
Yeah.
gonna do now? And so, yeah, having Paul on my team is great. Having the artists from CalArts on my team has been great. Having my friends from CalArts, it's just that entire community is so awesome, and I love it. 10 10 would do it
Um,
again, but also probably not because my classmates are my classmates. Like we are great, and like Paul doesn't work at CalArts anymore, so it's not the same.
mhm.
So
Mhm.
yeah,
It's never the same at first, but at least you still have that connection.
yeah,
That's the part that I really miss about it. That's also the part that I hated about going to my particular schools. There was no one there to really communicate with on that level. I think maybe there is now, but there weren't working out there photographers in the sense of like Paul Sequoia, how he was. I mean, we did have working photographers, but I mean, it's also St. Louis, so
yeah,
it depends on what they were doing that meant something, and oftentimes they were more exhibition artists, so they were required to have a certain type of show going on every so often. Um, I don't know. I think I would have loved to have had a black man in my time. It's so
it was
funny to think
important.
that.
Like
Mhm.
I didn't have that until Paul. Like I didn't realize
Yeah.
until after graduating, I was like, oh, I've had black teachers before because I went to a Baptist Christian school growing up. And I'm like, yeah, black
Oh.
teachers. But then like from going to public school to then, I'm like, wait a minute,
Mhm.
wow, I didn't have
Yeah.
anyone undergrads like
Yeah.
because PNCA was very white, but
Yeah.
the black teachers I knew about, they were in other departments, and so that was, a thing. And then there's one of my teachers, my second to last year, I guess my last year, Mexican artist,
Mhm.
amazing artist, but he was the one that kind of like, because there are things I tell myself, but then like to hear an actual working artist confirm
Mhm.
the thoughts, I'm like, okay, so I'm not making this up, and
Right.
you're being genuine. You want us to actually be mindful of what we're doing. And I'm like, how come
Mhm.
like the white artists aren't saying half the things you're telling us? Like,
I know.
but it's also, I think it just becomes it. It's one of those things you have to kind of like. I hated the whole like searching for your people. If I'm paying $1 bazillion,
Yeah.
I really want someone who can kind of, I don't know, meet me at least at the door. Like, not forget the
Mhm.
middle. Meet me at the
Yeah.
door of like what this is, and don't have me kind of like, debrief you on the history of
Mhm.
why things are the way they are. But I think having a black artist as a mentor really did help, because it kind of made me feel not alone. Like, not like I was like imagining things, or
Mhm. Mhm.
how Paul saw photographs of my family home, and he was like, this photograph reminds me so much of just like every black person has like, this photograph in their home, or these memories or
Yeah.
what have you. I'm like, yes,
Mhm.
yes, you get it.
Mhm.
It's not just
Mhm.
it's not just a bathroom. Like, you get what this
Yes.
is. And yeah, so that it's a lot of not having to over explain yourself just to get someone to go like, oh, I get it. So it's like having, yeah, I'm just rambling
Mhm.
now, but that's just, it's great. It was great having Paul in such a very pivotal.
Oh, no. I love hearing about it. It's so amazing. I'm always and I've reached out when I dropped out of school. So cuz well, there's reasons before that, but I dropped out. So before when or as I'm in the transitional air point of do I continue photography or do I just continue working at Starbucks? I did reach out to a couple of photographers and they never reached out. They never like went back. And
uh
they never responded, and I was just always like, "Ah," you know?
that's so gut wrenching. Oh,
It's so and you spend the whole time going, "Was it me? Is it my work? Do they not like my work? Or is it like" but they never reach out to you, and it's just aggravating so much. I love the fact that you had a teacher like that. That was just amazing.
yeah, it's so important to have like that, to be seen in a classroom. It's like,
Mhm.
it sounds so just like to be perceived, but it's no,
Right.
it's when it
It
comes to
means
your work, and
something.
it's very personal work, like very personal work. To
Mhm.
have someone who kind of like respects you and like wants you to be better at making what you're making, and they don't want to change anything you're doing. They just want you to go, well, let's look at some books and some history, some
Mhm.
whatever, so you put like context to what you're making.
Right.
Amazing. And like yeah, that's why I felt like you're only here because you're paid to be here. So when I reached out again, it's like, oh, you're doing this on your own time. Like, you
Right.
actually. So that
Right.
wasn't the whole like thing. That was you genuinely wanting, because he could have easily said, no, I don't want to be your advisor. Like,
Mhm.
so the fact that I have to, tell myself that these teachers, while they are there for, it's their job, the
Mhm.
extra 9 yards they're doing after hours, that's them wanting you to succeed. Like, that's not them doing this for, whatever
Mhm.
they're getting paid for adjunct. But it's, yeah, it's also rare. I feel like it's rare for, it shouldn't be rare, but it's
Yeah,
rare for
it is
educators to
rare.
actually pour into their students and be very, one, mindful of like the time they're in, like the, where they're living, what's happening in the world, and also not just like alluding to this like, once upon a time in like 1984 we did XY. Well, that was the 80s. This is 2000 and whatever now. Like, how do
Yeah,
I do this
yeah.
now? So I think that was
Mm.
great. But yeah, and it's
Um,
so great.
Celia says, PNCA wasn't for creating personal work. It was focused on profitability. That's what she feels. Did you feel the same way?
Kind of, yeah. uh yeah. Well, I mean, that's
Yeah.
why my family photos, I never saw them as like capital A art.
Mhm.
I saw it as
Mhm.
just like, these are photographs I'm making of my family, that here's my schoolwork that I mean, to art. Like, here's my schoolwork and here's my actual,
Mhm.
like, these are my parents. What are you talking about art?
Mhm.
And a friend of mine,
Right.
he saw photos of me. He saw me editing photos of, I think, my dad or something, my dad and my brother.
Mhm.
And he was like, Courtney, these are amazing. And I'm like, oh, thank you. He's like, why are you not bringing this into the crit space? And I was like, because it's not art. Like, this is literally
Wow.
not art. And he's like, what? No. Like, if you keep bringing in photographs you don't care about, you're going to become very good at making photographs you don't care about. So if you bring this
Mhm.
in, we can like help you figure out, language and
Right.
stuff. And that's, what crit spaces are. And I was like, huh. And so it was like very, very, to, bring in something so friggin' deeply personal
Oh my
into,
god.
this space. And mind you, at this time, was trying so hard to make I was trying to marry music and photography. Like I was trying to like make them like be together, and like it just
Mhm.
wasn't working. So I was like, how can I make this a thing? A thing?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I had I did not care for being in galleries or museums or any of that. I was
Right.
just so 22, 3, 4 year old Courtney was another person. Like, oh my God. She just uh love her heart though, but Lord. So I was very much against the whole like, I'm not putting this in a gallery. And then I kept getting like the BFA awards. I'm like, oh, so I guess photos of my mom have to be in a
Yeah, they're
in a
gonna be in the
gallery
gallery,
in a
Courtney.
book like my thesis. So PNCA for what it was, my advisors were great, but also if I
Mhm.
felt very alone because I was defending what I was calling documentary photography. I'm like, this is definitely art. Like
Mhm.
journalism is art, documentary
Mhm.
is art.
Yeah.
Like it's an art form. It's not like commercial, but you
Mhm.
can make money off this if you do it right. And I was the only ones going to bat for. I'm like, you don't get it. This is the
Yeah.
thing. Here we are, because the artists
Mhm.
I learned about are the ones that I, flocked to, like Carrie Mae Weems and
Mm.
Mangold. And I wasn't
Yeah.
taught about the classrooms. I did that research on my own. And it kind of like broke my heart that I was learning all of this on my own. And yet my
Yes.
classmates were like, not. And it's like, and it's been like, what, 10, whatever years, but it's still like a thing that stuck with me of like, if I really wanted to defend my work and like make it kind of like, a thing that I was serious about, I had to do the
Mhm.
extra work of
Mhm.
like, okay, here's my research on what I did, and like here's these new interviews so and so so and so did. So yeah,
Wow.
for what's worth PNC at the time, it's probably different, probably not, but it
Mhm.
was a great program, but also 'cause I mean it helped me get to here. So I can't like really be too sad about it because like it
Mhm.
really forced me to find the artists and kind of just align myself with these artists who were doing the exact same thing 20, 30 years ago and just going,
Right.
okay, I may be the only one now, but one day I won't be the only one and it'll be totally cool, be totally
Mhm.
fine. Just right now I have to just like hold it together and
Yes,
cry about
exactly.
it, cry about it later.
Well, it's also hard being the pioneer.
It's hard. It's
Like,
scary because like
it's
all eyes are
scary.
on you.
Yeah, it's really scary. It's hard. It's confusing. It's frustrating. It's lonely. Like it's annoying at times. It's just so goddamn frustrating. Oh, Fancy Margaret again.
Hi, Fancy
Do you
Margaret.
think you struggled? I love saying that. Do you think you struggled with merging art and music in Portland because of how exclusive the music scene is there versus a tour or LA? Wow, that's a really good question. I've always wondered about that. Did you
Um,
was it difficult in Portland?
I don't. So I know I definitely went to shows in Portland. I made
Mhm.
made friends because of the music scene up there, but I don't know, for whatever reason I blocked out most of that time of my life. I mean, I
Yeah.
can't know why, but like I really so badly wanted to be a Portland artist. I really, when I
Mhm.
left LA, I was like, bye LA, I'm done
Wow.
forever. And I
Yeah.
kept getting jobs here.
And then you're like, "Actually, just kidding."
It took a lot of that happening, going, okay, if you're consistently looking for work in one city, you're getting it
Mhm.
in another city, a sign you should probably stop trying to make a circle fit in a square. Like that's just not
Yes.
what's happening. And
Yes.
so the friends I made, still friends today, but
Oh, wow.
and also I I mean, at least for me at the time, I loved going to shows in Portland over LA because for whatever reason, there's always tickets at the door for an artist. I
Really?
saw the 1975 and I bought tickets at the door because it was 21 plus, and
Mhm.
they were playing the same tour came through LA at the Palladium and it sold out, but like
Wow.
tickets were still available at the door for me, and I was able to walk in day of, got a ticket. I'm like, wow, Portland does not party. This is so so amazing.
Mhm. That
And
is so
there's another
dope.
band here named Local Natives, and their shows
Mm.
in LA always sold out. But I was able to kind of see them at Music Millennium for free. Like probably 12
Mhm.
people were there to see them, and I was like, wow, does Portland not care about music like that? And I'm like, I'm not gonna
No.
question it. I'm just gonna go with it and like love it. Um,
Mhm.
it was also great to see friends who came into town because I knew for a fact I'd always see them because it's Portland. It's like
Yeah.
on the way to San Francisco, so there's gonna be like maybe a few other local friends, but at the
Right.
same time, I was able to see my four far away friends. It was
Aw.
easier then than it is here in LA. But I forgot the question, but I know working in LA definitely is more fun than Portland because of sunshine
Mhm.
and
Yes.
not the rain.
There is a lot of sunshine, in California, from what I hear, if the R&B songs are to be believed.
It's a lot of sunshine to the point where you're like deeply depressed. Like you're so sad. You're like,
Yeah.
but it's so pretty outside. So why am I sad? Why am I
It's so
sad?
pretty outside, why am I sad? Okay. Well, that all makes sense. Okay, we went over a little bit, but I think that's
Oh,
okay.
it's okay.
But I okay, well, Fancy Margaret again. Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear that you still saw shows. I think my experience was a little different because I lived outside of PDX. So it was more of a struggle to get into town to see shows. I have the struggle of bands coming here. No one comes here. We like to no everyone Chicago or for some reason Kansas City. It's never St. Louis, Missouri. So we need to get on that. Actually, what I need to do is get on this in the front business because I need to get some jobs.
Listen,
And
keep trying,
it's
sir.
where it goes. You're where
I
it
will
needs.
keep your name or keep your email and all that fun stuff because a lot of photographers within to the front, their day jobs include like photo
Mm-hmm.
work, but like I know for a fact that Erica and I think Amanda have like a list of ongoing
Hmm.
artists in different cities of like who can do
Yeah.
what city. So like 1,000% we'll throw your name on the list. Like here,
Woo-hoo.
Erica, if you need
We're
someone in St.
available.
Louis, I know someone. Here, here
Yes.
we go.
Or Kansas or Chicago
And
or
federal area.
wherever, I can drive a good car. I call my car Ravioli because it's a Toyota RAV4. So she's outside being all cute. She's ready to travel. She's like, "Let's go.
Got you.
Let's go,
Got
Tiffany." So I want to know, and I asked this of all my guests, what are you listening to in your studio?
you. Ooh. So currently I'm listening to Fearless Taylor's version, which is his
Uh-oh.
new like the re-release of that. But lately, as in like yesterday, I've been listening to a mix I made. I think it's
Mhm.
titled "Meet Me at the Urban Outfitters in Burbank," and, and
I
it's
love it.
all music from the I Love when I think it's 2000, like the
Mhm.
mid 2000s, like 2007 to like 11
Mm.
ish. When I was like,
Mhm.
I'm an adult now. I listen to indie music, so like,
Oh.
uh,
Uh-oh.
so like
Uh-oh.
anything you would have heard at Urban Outfitters during that time frame is on that playlist. So I've been listening
Mhm.
to that a lot lately. Driving to work, I listen to a mix I titled "Heavy as the Heart," and it's just
Mm.
a bunch of heavy music because like traffic is so
Oh,
loud. So I'm like, we're listening to Trivium. It's here we go. We're doing this, but
wow.
a spectrum of things. But yeah, lately it's been a lot of
Mhm.
Panic! At the Disco, a lot of Paramore, a lot of Maroon 5.
Mhm. Mm.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm so glad someone else loves Fearless. and Taylor Swift as much
I
as I
used to
do.
not be into Taylor Swift. That's the funny thing. Like when
Yeah,
she first came out, I was like, ugh, Taylor Swift.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because
Same.
one, I had a crush on her because duh. And then two, I was just like, I had to be annoying about it. But I
Yeah.
knew the songs. I
Mhm.
knew the songs. I knew all of it. So when I finally gave into it, I think it was Red. Red was the album
Yeah.
I actually was like, no, I don't care. I'm a Taylor Swift fan. All downhill from there because now I'm like, oh my gosh, when
Yeah.
she re-releases Red in '89, I'm gonna cry. I'm going to.
I can't wait till she releases 89. That's the
Ah,
and I love that freaking album.
the
I
group
like
chat is
sing it,
like
I know
we're
it
like
by
not
heart.
ready for it because we're all like, I'm
Mm,
not ready for Clean Taylor's version because like I will
no.
lose my mind hearing Clean
Mm-mm.
years later and going like, cool,
Mm-mm.
wow, we're all adults now and
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
in our 30s, so I'm
Wow.
crying.
Wow. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. Okay, well, it's been awesome talking to you, Courtney,
Oh,
for
it's been
this
so fun.
hour.
I hope
I
it all made
really
sense. I was rambling a lot,
no,
so
I thought it was fine. Me, Fancy Margaret, Cecilia, and Travel
I
Agent
love
Rick, like
Cecilia.
loved you. So, so we had a lot of fun. I want you to go ahead, Courtney, before we go, give everyone your social medias and your Patreon.
I thought you were gonna say my social security number.
We need to hack you, and
One,
we're
two,
gonna
three, four.
yes. No, keep that private.
Social media. So I just had this on another podcast and it's
Mhm,
hilarious. But if you want kind of like well curated, whatever work, my Instagram is Kearney Flakes.
mhm,
If you want terrible takes on everything, Kearney Flakes on Twitter. If you want to send me money to help me continue living as an artist or just, see work that I don't post on the internet,
mhm.
Kearney Flakes on Patreon. And I think
Okay.
those are the only platforms I use. I mean, there is like Facebook, but that's more so to make the Instagram like a photographer page.
Yeah.
But across any channel, it's Kearney Flakes. It depends on what you want to get from me.
Yeah. Look, what Courtney is it today?
Do you want the
Um,
like very like annoying like I love this Courtney? Twitter is right there. If you want like the kind of subdued, like here's some photos I'm tinkering around with, Instagram's there. If you want
yeah.
actual like well thought out, written out stories behind photographs, Patreon is there. Because the
Yeah.
very like back in September, I reached a point of just feeling so exhausted from being so exposed. And
Mhm.
I mean, I'm a very, as you can tell, I'm a very like lively person. I love
Yes.
doing this, but I also felt like my work just didn't fit with the loudness of the internet because it's very
Mhm.
quiet. Like it's very thoughtful work, but like it's just
Yeah.
lost in translation. And it felt like I felt very naked and exposed in like not the good fun way, like the actual like terrifying. Oh, I don't like this. And so I made a Patreon. I'm like, all right, if you really want to actually see ongoing work. Like my photo booth series, I still do it once a month, but the
Mhm.
photos now live on my Patreon because it's like I want this to be for people who actually really kind of want to see my
Right.
work.
Right.
And I understand that $5 a month is like a lot for people, so it's like okay, I'll let the public see it once in a while, but for those that can, I have that space for them
Mhm.
to kind of go deeper into my thought
Mhm.
process, and so I don't feel so like I'm yelling into the void and no one cares and wah wah wah.
Right.
So Patreon's like the actual of the three of them. If you really want to kind of keep up with what I'm doing and what my mind is like and all that fun stuff, Patreon. Because I feel very exposed on
Yeah.
the internet. The internet's a lot, and it's like, I don't want to be here. I want to be, but I also don't want to be here. Like I want to log off forever, but I also
Mhm.
like being online because I meet artists like you who are so great and actually just want to talk about things.
Yes, exactly. I need to conversate more with my patrons because everything just lives on Instagram because I
Which
believe that everything should, even if it's
it should be,
free.
yeah, it should be accessible.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
accessible. Wow, not
exactly.
accessible. Wow, accessible.
Accessible, accessible. Yeah, I
I said
get that.
excess. Yeah,
Yeah,
but because I
no,
want people to see
no.
my work and like I really don't want to put a paywall behind it, but also it reached a point where
Mhm.
I can't because most of my work has nudity in it, and I can't like share. I hate censoring myself because it's like I this makes sense
Mhm.
in context of this, and like so far, Patreon's been good of like
Yeah.
closing not closing down
Right?
my
Yeah.
thing of that. But yeah, it's a whole thing. I mean, there's also newsletters too, but it's just a matter of trying to figure out how to continue making
Mhm.
work and making it so those that cannot afford to like, see it. I still want
Mhm.
you to see something. So it's not like you're
Yeah.
looking at like years old photos that I'm like pulling out my butt. I really want you to kind of see that I'm still working. It's just a little
Mhm.
bit harder now because there's no I don't have
Mhm.
money to make the zines I want to make and like send off
Oh.
for free. Like I don't want people paying for it. I want you to take take
Mhm.
this for me. But one day
Mhm.
I'll reach a place to where I can definitely, afford to like just literally print out thousands of copies or whatever and just send them to whoever pays for shipping. Like, here,
Yeah.
have some
Yeah.
art. Let it be a thing. Maybe just
Yeah, that's what I do. During the high holidays, I send out, photos for everyone.
I love
Oh,
that.
I did that for you. I sent you out a
Yeah,
photo.
and I cried.
Oh.
I was like, what is this? And I opened up my mail. I was like, oh my gosh, because it made me. It's just that I'm your patron. I'm also a patron of another photographer named Leanne, and
Mhm.
getting both of that. Like, I got her postcard and also yours in the same mail haul,
Oh,
and it made
wow.
me cry because like I cry over everything, but two, it's just this whole thing of like, wow, like of this entire like terrible, awful year, I've been able to
Mhm.
set aside some money to like give to artists I support, and for them to give me their little trinkets in return, it's like
Mhm.
I can hang it in my room, in my hall, or my hall, wow, in my home. It's just such a great, yeah, I love it.
Well, I love it. I love that you did that, and I love being your patron, and I love that we pass the same money back and forth.
Same,
So
here's
it
here's some
works.
coffee money.
Yeah, pretty much. Your mine is coffee money, yours is film money. So,
Yeah,
like, it
same
works
thing.
out. Okay, so I love having you here, Courtney. Thank you so much for being our guest on episode 3. And thank you again, the travel agency, for promoting and producing this episode. Also, thank you to everyone who watched online on the
Thank you,
travel
Nancy
agency.
Margaret, for the very great questions.
They were great. Oh, me had great questions. Oh, well, thank you.
Thank
Hmm,
you. Oh,
I
all these.
appreciate it. Okay, we'll see you back here again where we'll talk to another Black artist. Have a good one, guys.